Hallo, hallo.
Was es für mich ist, gell? Soll ich sagen?
Ja, was sind die städtischen für dich?
Was sind die städtischen für mich? Also für mich ist es so, ich habe so im Kopf, wie...
Okay. Hi guys, welcome to the second live event of Foam. Hello to all you listeners out there, and for everybody who doesn't know us yet. We, or Foam, or the Forum of Architectural Mediation, are a relatively new and independent student initiative. And our aim is to discuss and publish topics related to architecture, but ideally without a focus on pictures. So Foam basically seeks to provide a platform for interdisciplinary discourses and to make it accessible for everybody to discuss any topics related to architecture. So I'm Cassandra.
Hey, and I'm Katrin, and we're both active members of Foam and both studying in the field of architecture or working. And so yeah, today's event is part of our first publishing series under the title of The Right to the City, from Underdogs to Schickeria.
And so we basically launched our first call for content in March. And since then, we've been collecting, publishing, producing, and discussing the topic of the ownership and right to the city or public space through various forms. So yeah, we are very happy to welcome two young collectives from Munich who are working on leaving their impact on the city or on public space.
Yeah, so welcome to the städtischen and bushbash. And yeah, so Louis and Felix of the städtischen and Benny and Carl, who are representing bushbash, today we'll be talking, hello, we'll be talking with us about issues surrounding the question of, well, the right to the city. So thank you for being here with us and taking the time for this talk. And
so our guests today are here to talk with us about how urban spaces can basically get taken over or can get taken ownership of, or different forms of occupation. We will later talk a little bit more about the definition of what that actually means and how they do it in their very own ways. So I would say let's just dig in and get started.
Yeah, but first of all, for all like listeners out there at home, of course, well, first of all, we are very happy that you all tune in, and you can all participate in the discussion at any time. So just type your questions or comments in the chat section, and we will try to include them as best as possible in the discussion. So yeah, welcome again, and why don't you guys just get started and introduce yourself and your projects?
I would say maybe.
So maybe we start with bushbash, or who wants to start? So first of all, you need to do.
Okay, I'll start.
No. Okay, perfect. So thanks for the invitation, and hello, that's me, Benny, and Carl. And I think to introduce us, I will show you our website, which is, can you see it? Perfectly. So we're like an underground collective based in Munich, and we're organizing a lot of events, from underground dance events to art projects and other creative concepts. So we have like a little story. It's like 3 years ago. Okay, we have our artists here, for example, which are playing normally on our underground raves. and often we just conquered some clubs here in Munich and some other cities too. Just to get a little view on our parties, you can see some pictures here. Okay, I hope it's working.
Yeah, that. Well, like the pictures probably show best what we do. Are there even pictures on there? Not too sure. Well, you can't see the pictures at the moment because our website is under maintenance, but you can. We will just tell you something about us. We started off as like a small techno collective, making our first, having our first party back in 2017, and from there on we just went on and on, having parties all over Munich, having small art projects here and there. We actually had this underground pop-up bar for 3 months where we had movie viewings and like discussion rounds about it with people from the städtischen actually. Yeah, and well, I don't know what else to tell you about us, really.
Just come over and check our parties.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
So then, yeah, maybe we just get on going with the second introduction. I think there's a video, right? Be you first.
Yeah, we prepared a short video to introduce us. As well, we want to show our website. So, hi, I'm Luis.
I'm Felix. We're from the städtischen. And I think now we have to cue in the video. I'm not sure if it's coming now. Otherwise, as a backup, we also just show our website. I think it's popping up soon.
Hallo, hallo.
Was es für mich ist, gell? Soll ich sagen?
Ja, was sind die städtischen für dich?
Was sind die städtischen für mich? Also für mich ist es so, ich habe so im Kopf, wie verschiedene junge Menschen in einem Wohnzimmer sitzen.
Hey, was sind die städtischen für dich?
Die städtischen sind für mich eher ein Freundeskreis, wie man die Stadt ein bisschen besser kennenlernt.
Die städtischen sind für mich eine Art Plattform für uns, von uns, um zu zeigen, wer wir sind und was wir machen.
Die städtischen sind für mich wie ein Kaleidoskop. Je nachdem, wie man es dreht und wendet, ergeben sich immer andere schöne Muster und man entdeckt immer wieder was Neues.
Die städtischen sind zunächst einmal Freunde und dann würde ich sagen, die Eigenschaft, die alle Bewohner der Stadt teilen und deswegen sind wir alle städtische. Ja.
Thank you very much.
So,
Introductions.
So yeah, I think share my screen to also go on our website. If that's possible right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just generally what we are is also, I mean, at least for me, quite a new collective. It started, I think, the beginning of this year, unfortunately, just before the big crisis we all had. So it was a bit tricky to kind of, move away, first of all, from the kind of things we wanted to do, because our projects were really interventions in the city that we planned. We also planned it on involving as many people as possible so that all folks of the city can come by and visit our projects and kind of get an insight. And I think I would describe it more as a kind of, I mean, we have planned 9 projects, but we're still kind of open to all the little things that are happening in the city. So I mean, there's we call it one of the projects. I think it's. I would start sharing now the screen. Hopefully it works. Yeah. And some technical issues as always, but I'm gonna get through it. I see this. Yeah. So as we also had a website, städtischen.org, and we kind of planned 9 projects. I think Luis will also say a bit about some of the projects that we're doing. Here you can see we kind of divided it, and we wanted to plan a week in, I think now it's going to be August.
August 10th to 16th.
Exactly, where we're going to go through some of these projects and just actually do them, let's say, and not just be planning them. Yeah, maybe I'll go on this one here. Luis, maybe you can say something for this.
Yeah, sure. It's called Die Kreuzung. It's an intersection near in Schwabing, actually, near at the Georgen Street and corner Tang Street, I guess. And over there, we're planning to do a theater play, which will confront the audience with some topics they are hopefully already used to, but I won't spoil the actual topic. After there will be a dance choreography, performance art, and yeah, well, we got a lot of ideas for this place. But already we got some different projects. If you could switch to the other, Felix.
Sorry, to which one?
Yeah, Filmkanzlei, maybe.
Yeah, true. We want to show this one. Yeah, sorry. Keep going. Right.
Yeah, the Filmkanzlei started last summer, as Benny already said, with the collective Bushbash. We had like every Sunday in the summer a small introduction and the topic and the discussion after a movie. And now we want to create a kind of film festival. Some movies of film students at different locations in the city. And right now we're having the Filmkanzlei streaming edition. We're posting on our website the movies. So as you can see down, and on our Instagram as well. Okay.
Exactly. We are just some of the movies that were streamed, also in collaboration with the Bushbash, as you can see here, the little sign. Exactly. In some other project here, we have the so-called Oasis or Oasis, and it's about the topic of green, or let's say greenery in the city, and it's a little bit like we would say kind of guerrilla farming, really to find some spots in the city that are, in our opinion, really unused or neglected, I think you could say. So where there's a lot of potential, but people really don't care anymore. At least the city doesn't care anymore. What's it going to do with it? And so that's the point where we step in with this project and kind of start to plant, for example, sunflower seeds. And we're kind of going from there and trying to also maybe grow some crops in a, let's say, urban farming project. But it's not, let's say, your typical urban farming somewhere on the roof. It's really trying to search those neglected places in the city. Here, kind of already started in the springtime. Exactly, and let's say the ground concept is to kind of make the city, let's say, a little bit more beautiful, to kind of involve the neighbors as well, because for them it's kind of right in front of their doorstep. They can relate to in the green of the city. It's not just the English garden that we have here, it's also a lot of other potential in smaller places. And I think also really important to notice is that it's going to be together with some people. I mean, really we are a multidisciplinary collective. Let's say we're not just urban planners or architects, and we got people from all kinds of study fields with us. Also people who are in biology, and they're gonna really go. So it's not really just, let's say, the city planning as such, but let's say also to really kind of help with the impact on the environment, let's say. So these are just, let's say, some of the projects. There are still this one here, for example, which is the Leerstand, we call it. So we're gonna kind of search for all the empty houses that there are in Munich. So houses that are really kind of abandoned, but still have a lot of potential and are just not used, let's say, because of investors and so on, just leaving it behind. And here it's also kind of, we're searching for some locations still. One of them you could see here, and we're just going to plan, there's going to be a little kind of art intervention to kind of, make the people a bit more understanding, let's say, what it really means for the city to have these kind of objects. So then we still have, some projects that are also kind of documenting the whole process and are also part of it. They're not our main topics for our week in August, but are already happening right now. I think Luis can say something for this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's Die Stimmen. It's, in English, the voices. It's actually project literature, and our plan is to integrate literature in the public space. As you see on the picture above, there is actually literature in the space, in this little poster. We got like different people, different young authors and artists who are writing some text, some prose, some poems, and we want to integrate it into the public space and activate the public space through it.
Exactly. And of course, there's a documentary kind of following us as well. We'll see how that goes. And it's just, it's kind of all the different topics that are part of the city. How the house, das Haus brennt, so the house is burning, change, or the problems of climate change that we have right now. An art projection in the middle of the city near the university. We'll see. We have teams working on it on all the little different topics and projects, and as you can see, it's going to look something like this. Maybe I can zoom in. It's really to kind of push.
Hallo.
Was für mich ist, gell? Soll ich sagen?
Ja, was sind die städtischen für dich?
Was sind die städtischen für mich? Also für mich ist es so, ich habe so im Kopf.
People pass by, and I think just to finish up, we had. I think it's not listed in here, but there's the last project which we call Stadtmöblierung, so it's the furniture in the city. And there we have a lot of people also working on putting, let's say, of using kind of neglected spaces and putting some pieces of furniture there. There are some self-made pieces of furniture that really interact with the space and give the people kind of a new way of thinking how to look at the city. So how to use kind of this defensive architecture or anti-social architecture, let's say. So places where you cannot really sit down and relax, which could have a lot of potential for doing that, but don't have it right now. That's exactly. Yeah. All right.
Maybe you stop the sharing, then we can.
Okay. Tricky with all the screens.
Start a discussion.
Okay, it tells me I cannot stop the screen sharing, but I'm trying to do it the hard way.
Now it's working.
All right. thank you very much. So we have two collectives with us that both in very different ways interact with the public sphere. And so first of all, because I forgot earlier, there are some like technical things you need to know, all the listeners. First of all, if the like videos change their formats, that's like, it doesn't have to do anything with who is more important or whatsoever. It's just like some kind of technical problems that if the Wi-Fi is like worse, the picture gets smaller. But yeah, just so you don't get confused. And then the second thing is that this talk will be made available later as a podcast on all our platforms.
So before we actually dig into our own questions, because we actually prepared a whole catalog of these, or we would like to know a lot of things, or would like to talk to you about a lot of things, we actually got some questions from our audience. So the first question we got was, how could anybody actually get involved with either of you, or in this case, die städtischen?
And also the artists that are already involved, like how did they get into contact with you, or are they part of your collective?
Actually, you can join us like whenever you want to. Just whenever you watch with us, I think on our website there's our email and phone number, and yeah, if you want to join, you're very welcome to join us and to work on a better city. And in the early stage of the project, we was like a small, like not that small, like 25 people, I guess. And we got more and more. We are like growing constantly. So there's no barrier to join us.
All right, thank you. And then just one more like question is just how many artists are there working with you at the moment?
Well, it's first of all also not just artists, as we say. It's just all kinds of people, and I think right now we're. I mean, bushbash is also part of us, kind of at the same time, because they're also participating in our project. I think we're about 40-something people now, growing each week. Let's say there's more and more people getting in touch, and yeah, also some other collectives, just like you with foam. So that's really nice. Yeah.
And to quickly get to bushbash, is anybody just involved who would like go to one of your raves, or is there any other way to get involved in your, I don't know, is organization the wrong word to use in this case, or your collective?
Well, we always search for a helping hand, to be honest, but it's kind of hard to actually get into the like main group of ours, because it's just unbearable with like 40 people having this one party. So like our like main group of organizers is pretty small, but we always look out for people that could help out at like our bar, or like help us getting the stuff there, because that's actually a really big point, or getting it back away is even worse, to be honest. But yeah, you can either just come up to us at one of our parties, or you can text us via our website. We got this like email address for people that are willing to help. Yeah, and just pretty much text us and let us know what you can do or want to do.
All right, thank you. And then one more question, because Felix, you just said that it's very important to you guys that your collective is very like interdisciplinary. So my question would be like, what kind of, or what is the like what is important about interdisciplinary work for your collective? Because all I saw so far was like these like artist interventions. Do you have like a, I don't know, theoretical background or some kind of other output?
I think, at least for me, speaking for me, because I study architecture here in Munich, it's been like this, that our projects were always kind of in a very small circle. And at least for me, it helped really to see that some other disciplines have a whole different way of approaching a certain subject. So we're all trying to aim in the same direction, but each one of us that is involved, some have a sociology kind of background or psychological kind of background studying that, and to really see their different approaches, it really helps everybody else to kind of think around the corner. How do you say that in, I don't know in English if you can say that, but that's something that really helped. And also on the other hand, it's just that the reach, let's say the people that we can reach is like it's way more, you know. It's not just bound to one certain subject, and it's really like that one project can involve many different disciplines, and that's what I think it's important. Not just that we are many people, but that it's many different disciplines working on one subject and one project, let's say. Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I feel like there's, sorry for getting into architecture, like we don't want to get too specific into that field, but I feel like there's, especially at the moment in Germany, there's like this trend, or it's recognized that interdisciplinary discourse is actually very beneficial for the architectural discourse. And I feel like the architectural education in Germany in general is not very interdisciplinary. It's quite, I don't know, one-sided, and it's very, I'd almost say pragmatic, not to sound too negative. But yeah, I actually have like a really big question for all of you.
First of all,
yeah,
just one more question from the audience. So there's the question of like what percentage of discussion and action is there in your work? So maybe you can just like elaborate on that for a little bit. You are like silent, okay.
Yeah, I don't know, Luis, please go ahead.
Thank you. It's a tricky question because right now we can't do so much project and intervention just because of the crisis we are into right now. It's still a lot of planning and looking forward to handle, but still we already are taking part in the city through like projects like Die Stimmen or Die Stadtmöblierung. Like we are producing, but like the whole idea is to do it in 1 week, so temporary. And in this week we are like 100% working and creating, but right now it's more like theoretical, and we're thinking and planning and or less creating.
Thank you. Bushbash, do you have any ideas or thoughts?
I think to add.
If not, yeah.
It's just like always really important to discuss all the topics to get like a nice presentation in the end. And we're like thinking a lot about all our actions, and in the end I think we have like nice projects with really good endings, and try not to forget anything, and we really try hard to have a look at all the small things.
It's interesting because so my big question from before was actually, would you both consider yourself as activists? And I think it's interesting here because I think you already know each other, or you're connected somehow, but you're still very different in your approaches, I guess, or also from your backgrounds or your disciplinary backgrounds.
We personally come from like a different point of view to our whole thing, but in general I'd say we share pretty much the same point of views in most parts. But like our crew in general, it's 10 people that are actually there every time we do something. We come from like all over Munich, from different schools, different like countries, I could say. And well, we always try to get to one point in the end before we like have a party. We always discuss about like how can we do this, how can we like build our DJ booth so that it looks nicely without having to work for like 5 days on it. And well,
yes, we're like, for example, last year we built a festival stage and we worked really close together with some architects, and in the end we got like a really nice construct. So yeah, ready for the next years.
yeah, but like what you just said, this like actual building time of this festival stage was, I'd say, 8 days, 7 days, but we started planning half a year ahead, especially because we had to get this many people under one roof with like everything we wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is also, I think, also for us, the reason why we have also these ongoing, let's say, little projects, so that we have an output, let's say, at the same time we're still discussing, because in the end, not just because of the crisis, but just in order to plan a project for one day or an intervention, you still need to bring people together and you still need to talk in the beginning. So I think it's not possible to get around this 90% talking in theory and then 10% is actually doing. But without the 10%, then you would have nothing in the end. So it's still quite important. But yeah, as I think it's the same with bushbash, we have this same or similar goal, different approaches from, you're doing music mostly as well. And us, we're kind of planning on more the built interventions, let's say, something that you do in the city, in the urbanism, but in the end, it's kind of the same goal to bring all the people together, and to be open for everything new, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you kind of like stepped around our question in a very nice way, or maybe we were just not specific enough. But I think because all the talking you were referring to was like now kind of the planning part. So, and I guess what we were referring to was more like the reflection in a theoretical approach.
Or maybe not too theoretical, just are you activist in a sense that you have like a big, I don't know if issue is the right word, but would you say you have a topic or like an issue you try to tackle,
or is it just about like create, which is like very nice as well?
Yeah.
But like, is it more about just creating like some kind of experience and an artwork in like a urban setting, or because at least on the städtische website, I think you said like you wanted to change the perception of the urban public sphere. So maybe you can elaborate just a little bit on how problems and what kind of problems there are, and whether or not you see yourself as like a political or just an artistic collective.
Yeah.
Please, it's just gone. Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. I'd say, we're not, let's say, theorists in a way that we meet and we talk and then we produce a manifesto for the city where we express our ideas. It's not going to be that, I think. It's more out of the, let's say, the gut feeling that we have. So I think we will never have one goal that is really the issue that we see with the urban thing. We as architects, we would like to assume that, I think. Also, that was my approach in the beginning, but this is really something where I saw it's not going to be one problem. Like, for example, Luis is going to see something completely different in the city than I ever will, because I'm just studying something completely different, I guess. And then you cannot really set, let's say, one goal. You can see a problem. You can ask other people, hey, do you also see this problem? And do you agree with us that it's something wrong with the city, for example, or something wrong with not even just the city. I mean, just the circumstances. You know, it can also be referring to. I would say, and go so far as to say it's also referring to certain people, maybe parts of the city, and it's more this coming together there, and then trying to do a project where as many as possible can reflect themselves inside of that project. I don't know how to say it, but it's not that we say, all the public spaces in Munich are bad and we have to change it, and we use the different disciplines and each discipline is doing one part inside. I think it's more what different problems do all the different people see, and then have projects that can spread out onto all those problems and give an idea on how to solve it. Because what we're doing is also, I mean, artistic interventions, they're not really solving the housing problem at that moment, you know, but it's really to have an output to reach as many people as possible by doing that.
So would you say that, like, but still, is it more using the public sphere and the city as like a canvas for your artistic project, or would you say that your project actually or is the goal that your project actually leave an impact not only on the spectators but also on the public sphere itself? If that makes sense. Felix?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm still on silent. I mean, otherwise I talk too much here. No, but you have to stop me if I'm talking too much. This happens all the time. No, it's more. I think you expressed it quite well. The canvas. It's for bushbash as well. I think you use the city as a canvas to put your art onto it. If it's the music or the raves or I don't know, but it's the, you know, you use it, and by using it, you're slowly starting to change it. But that's what I kind of meant before. It's not that we're rebuilding a house or something like this. It's more to be there, to be part of it, to tell the people that something is happening. You know, that it is possible to have bushbash there, or I don't know. Like Luis, maybe you want to say something. I don't know. It's to just, you know, to reach the people with this. Yeah.
I would say the städtischen is like a way to interact with the city, with the public space, and to harmonize with it. Sure, we are using, but as well we produce a platform for the city to show what kind of potential is in the public space.
I think it would be really interesting now to also listen to Bushbash's answer to whether they would consider themselves activists in this sense, or if they're trying to tackle any issue or highlight any issue. And then there's also already a first question for Bushbash specifically from our audience.
Yeah, so I personally would say we are activists, because the main obstacle we always have to deal with is to find a place in the city we can have like our parties or our, I don't know, projects in, which is really, really hard. Also, like, mainly because of like people that live there and don't want to listen to our music all night long. Not just because it's horrible, but I personally would say that we try to show people that you can do way more with like free spaces in the city than just put a park in it or something. And personally, I'd say städtischen are doing pretty much the same thing. It's just a little bit easier for them to tackle because they don't have like loud music playing all night long. Yeah.
I have a small question I would like to ask you guys. I mean, our first call for content was on, the right to the city, and some of the content or the first ideas we got on the topic is that it might be interesting specifically for a city like Munich, because obviously Munich is, I don't know, in the common perception more associated with, in German you would say the Schickeria, or, certain type of people or a certain type of scene. Would you consider your parties to kind of make the city more accessible, or would you say the scene, or whatever you would call it, was always there, or is there any relation to that? I don't know. It'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we personally, I'd say, think that it's really, really important to have our subcultural scene that we try to bring into the city. I mean, it's always been there, but it's stronger than ever, to be honest. People are getting interested in parties all over Munich, just parties like the ones we have. And it's a nice, thing to just show the city that there's more than the P1 or something like that, where you pay $20 for a drink and it's not even big. Yeah, so I personally would say we really try to just put a different perspective on Munich in general. And what we are really actually fighting for, I speak for myself now, but I think Benny would agree, is to have creative common spaces all over Munich that could be used in all different kinds of ways, same as the städtischen are doing as well. You'd like to add?
And there is there's a question from the audience. It's, how do you deal with Bavarian laws? Any advice for someone who wants to start bushbash, or who wants to start something like your collective told me?
Yeah, and I would also, what I would like to add to this question, do you think it's harder to start something like this in Bavaria, specifically in this area, compared to other areas, or?
And
it's way more harder than, for example, in Berlin, I think, but you can find nice places to start something, and I don't know, everyone should just start with a small party, just go somewhere and take your creative space and enjoy it. I don't know, sometimes the police comes, but they just say go away and it's okay.
Yeah. Well, as he said, the police is always an issue you have to deal with, especially when you have a party in open spaces that can be used by anyone. Also, you need, I mean, you gotta have a little bit of know-how on how to do it. You gotta have a little bit of equipment. But except for that, I personally would say everybody can start something like that, and just see where it takes you, really.
do you think project or parties or raves or whatever like yours kind of change or leave an impact that is more lasting than just for the night, in a way maybe that it changes the perception of what public space can be or can create as a community experience maybe, or also that it's not, or that these laws or whatever get kind of moved by your project?
Yeah, I personally would say that we leave an impact on a lot of people, especially not the place really, because we try to leave it as clean as we find it, or even cleaner. But a lot of people come up to us 3 or 4 parties later, or just on the street randomly, and are like, "Oh yeah, really cool party last Saturday. I fucking loved it." And I personally would say we show people that there's way more to Munich than what you just see on first sight.
It's just the party is over after one night, but we stay in the minds forever.
Especially Benny.
Yeah, what I think is interesting in relation to that. I remember in Vienna, for example, a lot of the times, you know, the secret raves or whatever you would call them would actually get registered as like a demonstration. So they would actually get officially registered at the police, or it would even be like the event would say, you know, we demonstrate for or against this and this, and then you would get there at the coordinates, and then it would be a proper like rave. So I think that's also very interesting.
Yeah, there's a connection between like just occupying space and demonstrating against whatsoever there is wrong in the urban sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially last year we tried some demonstrations like this, and it was a really good time. I don't know if you want, I can show you some pictures. And I saw someone was asking for pictures of our festival construction. So I would just share my screen again. At first, here's the festival stage. I hope you can see it. That was by day and that was by night. It was a really special weekend. And here we can see. This one. Here you can see our demonstration last year. It was against some patriotic police laws, and it was really nice. We made it through whole Munich, and it was a big action. In the end, we just occupied one bridge. It's called Wittelsbacher Bridge, and had a small rave there. It was quite nice. Okay, how can I stop the screen sharing? I think it's. Yeah.
I think I was even there.
I hope so.
No, yeah, I think it's interesting. Also interesting, maybe, I don't know how the relationship is here, but like as a tool to get, you know, people involved, or even interesting or provide some sort of access to, I don't know, to activism or some sort of an issue, or at least, you know, raise awareness for an issue that the person who would actually, you know, participate in that event would have not thought about before.
Yeah, also another point we tried to make with this demonstration for just us personally was to tell the people that there aren't enough like free spaces or creative spaces to be used by the general public like us. And especially by now where like clubs are falling down and like getting closed down on the daily pretty much, it's getting more and more important to just have some place to go in the evenings, or just to enjoy yourself, which is like a real issue in Munich in my point of view. And
yes, maybe that leads us to the next question, which was also, I think, earlier posed in the comment section. So what kind of, for both of you, what kind of places are it that like you look for your projects? Or yeah, can you frame for us what you're looking for in a place?
Yeah, for both of you, maybe. That would
and
be
how do you choose your spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we look for first of all, of course, is are there neighbors anywhere around there? And if there aren't, then how do you even get there? Because to find a beautiful spot to have a party, but then you realize nobody's ever gonna get there if they don't go there by their own cars, which is not possible either. So that's like one of our main things. Also accessibility in general, or and security, of course. Like, is there a road close by, or are there like a train? Is there a train line running by? All of these things are what we look for first of all, and then once all of these things are pretty much cleared, party on.
And I think that's also interesting to see. It's you're also searching for kind of the not so much the city spots in Munich, right? That's what I kind of hear from you. I mean, I was also there, I think 2 years ago, and it's really something where you feel, I mean, it is not really far away because you can go there by bike, but it feels really outside of the city. And I think what we're doing with our projects, or at least in our locations, it's somehow the opposite thing. Is we do something site, or we kind of hide our projects in, or not hide it, actually want to show it, but I mean, the intervention is kind of hidden in plain sight, let's say. Whereas a bush is, I mean, you arrive there, it's a huge party, but then it's a bit outside. And there's now that you were talking about it, I just noticed something really interesting. Is like, I think for you, the people that go there, they kind of see that it is possible to really party so freely, let's say, to just go there and join, and not to pay the 20 euros for a drink, let's say, in the city. And that kind of makes them feel a bit more, I would say, how you can say, at ease, let's say, in the city. And the same way that our projects are kind of really then at the place in the city, and by being there, making it more easy kind of to stay there. Also concerning your question with the Schickeria, I mean, in our project, we really didn't even think about that topic too much. I'd say we didn't choose especially places in front of luxury apartments or something to do our interventions. That's not the top, but it's making, or it's showing the people that, yeah, even though you have this part in the city where it's just so expensive, I mean, you have so many students that are really on the brink of, or having problems to afford their flat here, let's say, if a small room costs already 700 euros, I don't know. And to kind of show them that, well, also outside there's still a lot of potential, even if it's not really in the city, as you can see with bushbash, although it's still part of Munich. And that's, I think, it's really interesting.
Yeah. Also, what I want to add to your comment is that the main thing is you guys just really want to be seen with your kind of stuff, or at least in my opinion, that's what you want to do, kind of. For us, it's really important to not be seen by certain people, for example, the police. So we try to hide away a little bit, but once you actually want to go to one of our parties, you can. So it's not that hard to find, but it's a bit tricky to get there.
Yeah, but exactly. But it's the same. I think it's a similar feeling people can go away from with when they went to your event, or we hope so in our near future from our events. It's kind of to get this relaxing, let's say, feeling for the city, that you can go back and remember and say, okay, it's not such a tight space as we think. It's not just, let's say, the chic and so on. It's actually, there's the space for us young people as well, and to kind of, let go.
Okay, thank you. So our time is almost up, but there was one more question in the comment section, and that leads us also to like maybe a more general question. So the question was, how are you guys adapting to the Corona crisis? I think you already mentioned that before when you were talking about like more in kind of a planning process, but maybe the question about like the change with the Corona crisis leads us to the question of what do you guys, or what are you thinking about kind of online activism, or how is the virtual space included in your project in the like actual space?
Yeah.
Well, start.
Oh, yeah, well, then I'll start. For us personally, it's like the crisis had hit us really bad, because you can't have a party with like 200 people standing right next to each other while this virus is going around. So we kind of adapted with live streams, and as well like posting some stuff of the Filmkanzlei from you guys, just keeping our followers entertained pretty much, but you can't really have a party at the moment. But we like plan on doing smaller raves and kind of like in safer spaces with adapting to the situation at the moment. Maybe with like circles drawn to the like to the ground so that people can stand with like 2 meters space between each other. For us, it's a shitty situation, really. There's nothing more to do than wait.
We actually reacted in our way as well to the crisis. Actually, we just like started before the crisis, and through the crisis, we had the possibility to take our time and to plan and to create like a different way, an online way to be a part of the city. Like Carl just said, with the Filmkanzlei or through posting and letting people interact with us online. Yeah, so that we are still making our way.
And I mean, we talked a lot about like the crisis right now. But in relation to that, I think what's really interesting is here, how would you position yourself to, online activism? And I feel like it's interesting right now because, as well with, the Black Lives Matters movement, there was also, I don't know if this is the right framework to actually bring it up or the right time actually, but there was like a lot of, online activism or new forms of activism, popping up. And, is online activism better or worse than, physical activism? Or is, online activism just a substitute, or is it going to take over? I don't know, is it something that you would personally, consider as a side arm?
I think it's not gonna take over the real activism part. I mean, I think it's in human nature that we will go back to normal at some point, I guess. I mean, even bushbash, it's a hard time right now, but I'm really guessing and I'm hoping, even if it's just next year, but that it's gonna be happening again. And I think it how do you say, subsidize the real life activism. It's you can use it as a tool, as we are now. You can use it as a tool to communicate, to push things really, and to make everything a bit, let's say, faster. That's super good. But in the end, when you want to leave really an impact, you have to be there. Huh? You have to really like see it. Maybe there's some little parts of, I don't know, digital art that I don't know about, that also can leave an impact as such. But maybe with virtual reality, I don't know. But for now, I think it's you remember it way better when you've actually been there. So when we had our meetings with the städtischen, it's you just have way more like a good feeling coming from there and way more ideas. And also with the bushbash rave, you cannot, it's activism also, and you cannot do it online in such a way. So yeah, I think we have to go back to normal at some point.
All right, thank you. Then maybe just one more short answer from bushbash, and then we wrap it up for today.
About the question with like online activism, I mean, it's just not gonna work for the two of us. I mean, how can you have a party online, really? I mean, there's this house party app, but anyone who's used it knows that it's not even close. So for us personally, we just gotta wait and see how all of the situation's going. And we really hope to have a party again at some point once it's safe and we don't feel like we are gonna poison all of our visitors really.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because actually I would say you could consider foam, so us as some sort of, or like as a platform, at the moment trying to, I don't know, be active on online, and we're currently trying to publish and discuss. I mean, we are what we're doing now is actually I don't know if you could consider it online activism, but we're discussing a topic online and trying to make it completely accessible. Just as a comment, so maybe there's probably like different forms of activism working for different kinds of causes or different forms of organizations. And we would actually like to give you guys, because obviously time's almost up, as Catherine said. We would like to give you guys the possibility to maybe name your social social media appearances.
Yeah, so that anyone who is interested can follow in whatever possible way.
So yes, you can follow us everywhere in the internet. So we have our Facebook page. It's called Collective Bushbash. We have Instagram, collective/bushbash, and for sure the important one, SoundCloud, Collective Bushbash. We have every weekend set uploaded there. So check out our music and enjoy it.
Yeah, as you already seen the end of the video, you can get in touch with us through our website, städtischen.org, or through our Instagram, städtischen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the same can be said about foam. You can follow us on Instagram and also have a look at our website, Foam Network. And also our podcast. So this one as well, once it's once we published it as a podcast, can be listened to on Spotify and iTunes.
Yes.
Yeah, and YouTube, of course. Now this video will stay there as well. And then thank you everyone for listening, and thank you guys for being here with us today
and taking the time to be here with us today.
It was a pleasure.
Yes. And I hope to see you soon at either one of your raves or
intervention.
Yes, thanks for the invitation, and we will post our channels in the comments below. We just don't use TikTok, but I think it's better.
Thanks from us as well, and you're invited to come to our intervention. For sure.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.